the 31st of March 2001, paramedics and police were called to the home address of Michael Barrymore in Roydon and Essex. There they found Stuart Lubbock, who was recovered and taken from his swimming pool, where he then taken to hospital, where he later then died. This case has been a mystery for almost 19 years. Together with Terry, we are absolutely committed to try and find the people responsible for the rape and the death of Stuart Lubbock. What we do know is quite simple. 9 people returned to Michael Barrymore's address in the early hours of that morning, following being at a local nightclub, where a party then took place. Stuart died during that party. We also know that Stuart was seriously sexually assaulted during that time. 1 or more of those 8 people at that party are responsible for Stuart's death. 1 or more of those 8 people know who's responsible for Stuart's death. I'm equally convinced that those people present at the party must have spoken to friends, family, associates about what happened that night, and I urge them to come forward. So part of today is we've teamed up with the charity Crime Stoppers, and between Essex Police and Crime Stoppers, we are offering £20,000 reward for the arrest, leading to arrest and conviction of those involved in the sexual assault and death of Stuart Lubbock. So, as I say, my appeal to the public today and to those people present is we need to know what happened. We need people to come forward and to tell us. Terry has been campaigning for Stuart's death and the circumstances around this for 19 years. We are still very committed to find the people that are responsible. I make this clear. I believe that Stuart was raped and murdered that night. I also believe that no one climbed that fence and they caused those injuries. So as I say, 1 or more of those individuals, those partygoers, are responsible for that serious sexual assault on Stuart that night.
What might have been potential pieces of evidence have gone missing?
Yeah, sure. So obviously police were called to the scene at the time. I think the initial information that was passed to Essex Police suggested that it was a straightforward drowning and an accidental death. We did put a scene guard on. Unfortunately, there were a number of people that were allowed back in that scene during the early hours of the 31st. We took crime scene photographs quite early on, which showed a couple of particular objects that I'm really interested in to find out where they are now and to recover them. The first was what appeared to be a pool thermometer that was on the side of the jacuzzi. And the relevance being that we believe in the early hours there were individuals that went into the jacuzzi, including Stuart, where I believe that's where the sexual assault took place, and then subsequently obviously he was found in the pool. We also know from officers there that what appeared to be an outhouse handle or poolside handle was found broken again very close to that jacuzzi. Both those items we have never recovered.
But were they photographed at the time?
The pool thermometer was photographed initially by crime scene photographers. The handle was not seen in those photographs, but was described by officers that were present near to that scene. The following day, we conducted a crime scene video, which was quite standard practice. And during that crime scene video, those items were missing. And we also know that from all the items seized in the property, and we searched bins, etc., they've never been recovered. And I'm really, really interested to find out what happened to them.
And so there's been a cover-up, is what you're saying?
All I'm saying is this, is that there were a number of people at that property. There were items there that we've done a full search of that property from a policing perspective. Those items have gone missing. Yes, that does raise my suspicions. Possibly could be used in the assault that took place on Stuart. So I'm really keen to identify, to see whether or not they are relevant in this inquiry.
How big a failure is it for the police not to have kept those objects?
In every single criminal investigation, we do our utmost to try and secure crime scenes. It's really important to us. I think what took place that night was some early bias on behalf of the officers that attended, just naturally believing this was a drowning, and not what we expect to find these days, that we think murder first and then work our way back.
how many people are helping the police's inquiries out of those that were there that night?
So of the 8 individuals that went back to that party, obviously we have made arrests during the course of this investigation. We have taken a number of statements, particularly off everyone that was there at that time, and statements from people that went in and out of that scene after the police arrived.
When was the last time you looked to get more information from those people?
So there have been a number of reviews that have taken place since 2001 and reopening the investigation. Yeah, we will be seeing, as part of this investigation and the reward that we're now offering, yes, we'll be doing further inquiries in and around the people and what took place there.
And are they cooperating?
At the moment, we're exploring all the avenues in terms of potential witnesses that were there that night. Yes.
The trailer referred to evidence that Stuart Lubbock was flimsy. What do you mean by flimsy?
Sorry, say that again.
The trailer we watched referred to the evidence that he died in the pool as flimsy. What's meant by that?
I think one of the areas in terms of Stuart's death is there are certain facts that we know. We know that Stuart was seriously sexually assaulted, and I mean seriously, to the point where it couldn't have been consensual. It wasn't self-inflicted. There was third-party involvement. We also know that we believe he suffered, because of some of the forensic assessment that's gone on, some form of whether he was held or held down during that process. What we also know is that yes, he did have controlled substances in his body, and we also know that at some point in that process there was immersion involved. All those pieces together say to me, in terms of, and the last pathologist in 2007, Dr. Carey, said there is a prima facie case to suggest that there was third-party intervention in his death, and that's where I sit with this. Yes, the cause of death is contentious. There are conflicting views, but for me, there are too many facts to suggest that there was not third-party involvement that actually caused or contributed to his death.
Was there any worry on your part that it must have been fairly obvious to the officers who went there, this was Michael Barrymore's home? Was that an influencing factor as well that led to some of these lapses that seem to have happened?
It's difficult to say. It's difficult to say whether that influenced their judgment at the time. I think because of the fact it was a party, and I think because the injuries to Stuart weren't obvious there and then, that unfortunately they've taken face value what they were told, rather than, you know, the preservation of the scene that we would expect to see today.
Say that the injuries weren't obvious there and then, but if they were that serious, how were they not obvious there and then?
Just because of the nature of the injuries and the fact that they were anal injuries, they weren't identified until the post-mortem took place later that day.
But, like, continuing on from that, how has it taken 19 years to get to this point still?
In what context?
Like, to get to where we are today, where you're talking about all this, where this rewards come out, it's quite a long time.
It is, but nothing's changed. You know, this is still an open investigation. There are still people out there that know what happened and were responsible. We've not changed on that subject. You know, since the point this was declared an investigation under unexplained death, which was really early on, this has maintained an open investigation. It's been reviewed several times. Lots and lots of inquiries, lots of statements have taken place, and a number of arrests. So I don't think it's changed. It's just a case of we've got an opportunity now to review it, a fresh pair of eyes that I can bring to this investigation, to look over the evidence and make appeal to the public, but particularly those people that were there, because this has been frustrating. Frustrating, as I say, in so much as I don't think there's anyone else other than the people that are there that I'm looking for. That's not you know, completely, there is an option of third-party involvement other than the people there, but realistically, I believe the answers lie with the people that were there.
Have you spoken to Michael Barrymore since reviewing this investigation?
Not personally, no.
Is he not speaking to you, or is it just you haven't made the approach?
We haven't made the approach at the moment.
Are you going to try to re-interview all of those 8 people?
We will be doing further inquiries with some of the people that were there present, but realistically, this is my appeal to them. They will see this. They will know that the reward's been offered. They will know that I want them to come forward, but equally the people that they know, that their associates and friends at that time, I don't believe that either the person responsible or somebody that was witness there hasn't told somebody in the last 19 hours what actually took place that night.
But sorry, can we be clear? Michael Barrymore is still a person of interest that you will want to talk to, or do you feel that he has said everything, given you any information you already need, or is there more you can offer?
What I'll say is this, is that, as you know, people have been arrested in connection with this investigation. And during that investigation, we haven't been able to completely eliminate them from our inquiries.
How many officers are you going to dedicate to this?
That's an impossible question to answer, because that will vary during the course of this investigation, and a lot of it would depend on what information that we get from the public and what further leads we can push on. As I say, this investigation has been reviewed several times by some very experienced detectives, and you know, my appeal is today is to those people. We want to recover those items, and we want to know exactly what happened that night.
Given the level of brutality involved, how certain are you that third-party involvement means 2 or more people?
I'm not. I'm saying I think that certainly at least one person's responsible out of the 8 that went back to that party, but possibly 2 or more even. And that goes the same for the people that are there. I'm not saying that the people that are there are either involved or actually knew what happened. What I'm saying is that some of them do.
Well, you've made it clear that the violence involved, the injuries involved were pretty severe, which would make it sound like either more than one person was potentially involved, or Stuart was incapacitated when it happened. Do you want to say anything about that?
I would say that both of those lies were 2 possible hypotheses. Yes, I can't rule out a single individual who were responsible for the sexual assault and then the subsequent death of Stuart. However, I would say on the balance of probability that from the evidence intelligence that we've got from the scene and what we've been told from witnesses, there's more likely than more than one person involved, but we can't rule out that a single person was responsible.
So all 8 remain suspects?
No, not in the slightest. No, we have people that we've arrested during the course of this inquiry, and as I say, I don't think all 8 were responsible for what happened to Stuart. I think at least one of them was, and certainly at least one or more knew exactly what happened that night.
So have you spotted sort of differences in their statements over the years? You must have reviewed all the statements, what they gave 19 years ago. Michael Barrymore, for example, was on TV, very high profile interviews, giving his account of what he thought did or didn't happen that night. Surely you must have spotted some discrepancies in his statement.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair to say, and particularly when you look at the evidence in their statements and during their evidence during the inquest, and I think it was the coroner who also mention this, I don't think all of them have told the truth, and I think that's obvious by my stance today, which is simple. I don't think I'm looking for anyone else that's climbed over that wall and committed those offences. So yes, I don't think they are completely telling us the truth.
So on that basis then, are you confident you'll get a conviction, that you'll find the killer?
Yes.
Can you say any more about, you say there's some people who arrived at the scene after he died, obviously in addition to the 8 who were there initially. Have you got any information about whether they're men or women, how long after, or?
And unfortunately, there were some people that were either connected with Michael Barrymore or the address, or people in there that were allowed in and out of the scene. We have spoken to them during the course of the investigation. I've reviewed their evidence. So we are looking at those angles to see whether or not we can find out what happened to those items that are now missing.
Do you know how many some is?
There were, I can't give you the exact number at the moment, but there were more than one person that went into that scene after we would, if you like, secured that as a crime scene.
Did Michael Barrymore's legal action against Essex police delay in any way the point that we've got to now?
Not in the slightest.
Has this case been reviewed by an outside force, or just always Essex?
I believe it was always, oh yes, we did, we had a Metropolitan Police review in 2000, I'll get the year,
Yes,
but it was.
so there
Yes.
has been some kind
Yes,
of
it has.
independent overview.
Yes.
Yeah.